front of me or somebody else walk in this room? What's that supposed to mean? It means you are dreaming. This is payday. It is over.
That check. JW here. We are at night. Still of the night. That's right. Still of the night. When everything cools down. Where all the lights have more meaning. The pavement on the road. The yellow lines that whirl by as you're driving. You feel the cool breeze. Everything is so different at night. The breeze, the air smells different. Not like during the day, where you just hear the horns and the exhaust. At night, everything is enhanced. Lights, sounds of the siren echoing down the streets. Street lights that are barely illuminated. Where are we? The town is different. It's almost like you stepped into a Rod Serling episode. But no, everything is the same. But it's the night. And that is the still of the night. I'm Batjack JW. Thanks for tuning in, and here we are. It's episode 1, really, of something interesting I thought about doing, which is this kind of late night radio. And I had this idea to do this, so here we are. We're just kind of winging it, and this is what we're coming up with. So those of you that are tuned in, that enjoy this stuff, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for being around here and supporting the channel, supporting what I'm doing. A lot of this has been a great opportunity for me to explore just being creative with everything that I can do. Entertainment-wise, and this is the closest that I've been able to come, so I really appreciate it. And that's, again, touching back on, that's what's so wonderful about the tools that we have now. As much as I'm so I don't embrace so much of this new age stuff. It's just a lot of it is just too out of control for me. But, this is one thing that I found that was really neat. That it's like, wow, you can get an audience now. Because as far as back I remember, always been interested in recording and taping things. Be it with a Polaroid camera, had one of those. I used to love that. I'd run around taking odd pictures, the damaged pieces of sidewalks and stuff. And I don't know why I did it. I just thought it was always interesting to see something. And I took photography in school, in high school, and this is long before any of these, the cell phone turned into what it is now. Long before all that. I took photography, and we were doing our own film development, and we'd old cameras that we do. We would either shoot in black and white, or we shot in color, but mostly we always shot in black and white. I forget how much it was. We paid the dues for the class, and they provided us with their. The teacher actually lent me one of the cameras to use. He was a really cool guy. He really taught us a lot, and he really just further enhanced my love for filmmaking and photography and all that. Just really enhanced it, because all the way back when I was younger, I really loved filming stuff, and I remember begging my parents to rent me a video camera, a camcorder. Back then it was like, dude, it's just different, So I actually finally got one. It was ran on an old, you put an old VHS tape in it and you recorded stuff. And I went around recording all kinds of stuff. I had my dog in the yard, my husky, and I would go and videotape her doing, just. I remember trying to attempt to create like a horror type thing like Cujo. And I would take these close-up shots. I remember pulling her upper lip, up a little bit, and taking this close shot of her teeth. And she was such a loving dog. It was just hard to get her to be this menacing thing that I had in mind to do. So, but doing the photography, and black and white has always intrigued me, because black and white is so, to me it's like a whole nother artistic level. It's like it shadows and things. And one of the things that really fascinated me the most about black and white was Alfred Hitchcock's take on Psycho, and what he used to, you know, draw into the fake blood and all that. And it was like Bosco's chocolate syrup, and I remember like, that's so odd, like, you know, that's so neat. And I remember doing like when I was in high school, like, you know, again taking that photography class, and I remember taking like pictures of. I remember telling my buddy, my high school friend at that time, you know, I said, "Hey, let me take a picture of your hand. I'm gonna rub some like ketchup or mustard or something like that on your hand. I just want to see what the contrast looked like in black and white." He didn't get it at all what I was trying to do, but what I was trying to do was see the different colors of, you know, taking something like you know, mustard or ketchup or relish or something, whatever, you know, and seeing how it photographed in black and white, because that was always my like draw to that, was like, when you photograph something in black and white, it is so much different than it just you could take a photograph of like a bunch of stuff scattered on your desk, pens, paper clips, crumpled up receipts, you know, maybe an old ketchup packet from the Arby's or something, you know, and all this stuff. And you could just look at it, and it's like nothing. It just looks like a messy desk. You take a photograph of it in black and white, and it just changes everything. It really does. It just makes it so much different. It's like it adds some kind of artistic thing to it. It's really interesting. So I remember always being intrigued by that. I always liked black and white movies. I always watch those old Humphrey Bogart movies. One of my favorite Bogart films of all time is Key Largo. You got Bogart, Bacall, Edward G. Robinson. They're all in it, and just a fantastic movie. I love it. You know, it's got that impending doom of the storm coming as they board up all these things in this hotel. They're so worried, and Edward G. is so frightened about it all, and he's just he's always scared and everything. So, but you know, I always liked older movies. I just always felt like there's nothing, they're never going to be able to recapture those. They'll never be able to redo them. The old stuff is just going to be the old stuff always. So, you know, a lot of the silhouette outlines of stuff, you know, like those old Colt revolvers, that the exposed ejector rod just hanging freely outside the bottom of the barrel. You always can see that, you know, that silhouette or that look on them. Especially like if you look at the movie The Big Sleep, where Bogart's got them all, you know, there's a car with them in compartments in the car and stuff. Yeah, it's always so neat to see that. Another, you know, of course, favorite of mine is the Three Stooges. Always will be my favorite stuff. The Stooges, I just love the Stooges. I could watch, I mean, I have the whole collection now, but on DVD, you know what, I'd sit there and watch them over and over and over again. And I remember when I first started getting into those, randomly came across it on TV with my father. We were watching it, and he said, "Oh, you never seen this?" Yeah, so we watched it. I just loved it. So we found out that the local video store, this place called Dr. Video, I've talked about it before in the chat radio, and they had them on tape. You could rent them. They're 99 cents one night. So, you know, every Friday it was just like and they had a whole bunch of them. So we just went down the line, just like, you know, volume 1, volume 2, just renting them and just buying them. Eventually I wound up actually purchasing those from the store because they wound up selling them. And I would just go by there and just you know, every other week or so, you know, after I earned my allowance doing whatever it was, pulling weeds, cleaning, you know, furniture. I remember I'd go to my Nana's house and clean furniture with, you know, the old English and a rag and cleaning all that, and just to get enough money to go back down to the videotape store and purchase more tapes. That was my thing. That's what it was like, okay, I want to purchase more videotapes. And I would go around to these video stores. Not, you couldn't do that with Blockbuster because it's, big old corporate thing. But these mom and pop places, they would sell it to you sometimes. And if you asked, and I remember just, going in there and just begging and asking them, hey, will you sell this? Will you sell this? Will you sell this? And to my surprise, a lot of times they did. They would just sell it to you. They would just, look it up, and they probably looked it up and said, man, we haven't rented this in like 5 years, and this guy wants to buy it. So let's just, this little kid wants to buy these tapes, so let's sell it to you. I remember going to this one place down south area in the town. It was called Scott's Video. I remember going in there and purchasing, like, on tape. I remember buying like Deliverance, an Al Pacino movie. It was probably like one of the weird. I mean, I was like after like all these weirdo movies that that most people would be like, my gosh, why would you even watch those? But I mean, they're good classic movies. Like Deliverance, that's a great movie. I mean, Burt Reynolds at his finest, really. I mean, just did all his own stunts. I mean, everybody when everybody talk about Deliverance, they talk about the only scene that as always gets talked, which is the sexual assault scene, and it's like that is so little of the movie. If you look at the movie, look at the way it was filmed, the way it's shot, the beautiful, like, just the cinematography on it is just amazing, with the canoes going down those rapids, the water, the cut scenes, and then the scene where they capsize and you see Burt Reynolds, flying through the air, literally flying through the air. And this is a guy doing his own stunts. He's a big time movie star. He's like doing his own stunt. It's just everything on it was just crazy. And then when they meet up with, I believe it's Drew, played by Ronnie Cox, they find him like wedged against the tree, or whatever happened to him. He's all contorted and everything. Man, that was like so gruesome looking. And then you got John Voight's character, trying to, step into the shoes, trying to fill those boots. Am I be able to take my, bow and arrow and prove myself and be like Lewis, So, but yeah, I mean, even that scene where he broke his leg and the bone is coming through his thigh and everything, I was like, wow, it's pretty, it's like, that was a pretty heavy movie. That was such a cool movie. But I remember buying that on VHS from Scott's Video. Like, I actually bought their rental copy of that. I remember tracking down the movie They Live with Roddy Piper on, they had it for rent, and we rented and watched it. And then I remember we rented The Godfather for the very first time. It was like a double tape movie, and I remember my dad's like, well, you better start it now because we're gonna be here all night watching it. Better get an early start on it. I was watching it. I remember so intrigued by it. It was like, wow, this is such an interesting movie. And and then all of a sudden everybody starts getting clipped off, and it's like, what? But I remember going through that and renting all of those, just like, go one night Godfather 1, next thing, Godfather 2, and just going down the list and renting them all. And, I recently picked this up at the record store, and it was, like I said, it was like a quarter. So it was, and I wish I could have bought this for a quarter, whatever, 20 years ago, when I was buying all these things. The copy of Kelly's Heroes, and it's a big box edition. You don't see those often, and even when I was buying the tapes, when the VHS tapes were in the big box edition, I mean, like the box was a lot larger than your standard slipcase. This was like, I remember some of the beta tapes came like that. The beta, they were like these smaller tapes, and you could you open it up like a book, and there it was, this like little beta tape inside there. But these were similar. I remember that was so interesting. I remember the war of like, oh, it's going to be beta or VHS, kind of like how it's now. It's like, what was it, when DVDs were coming out, and then there was the HD tape or HD disc or whatever it was. It was like the red or maroon disc, and then Blu-ray wound up winning over that. And now everybody's after Blu-ray. Now it's like I don't know. It just keeps jumping up. Now it's like 4K or something like that. I don't know. It just like changes all the time. But yeah, I remember like when DVDs came out. I was one of those last guys that wouldn't give up my videotape. I would just continue to buy videotapes, would not buy those DVDs, was resistant to it. I resisted. I'm like, I'm not going to buy these new discs. I don't want them, but, eventually I had to cave in because there was no more. The tapes were going extinct. You couldn't find them anymore. That was it. That was the end. And then slowly it just started replacing, my sad tape collection. And that was so sad. I wish I would have kept all of them. I wish I would have, looking back, I wish I would have kept the tape collection. I really do. I wish I would have just put them in boxes and put them in like storage or something. I miss my collection of tapes. I really do. I wish I would have kept them. But, that's life. That's how life goes. You just keep trucking along, and it's the more you do, the more the sun comes up and goes down faster and faster. Days seem like minutes, and next thing you know, the month is gone, and I'm still sitting there wondering what happened to, several months ago, and here it is, and 2019 is over, and 2020 is here, and I just what happened? How did it go from one number to another number so fast? And it's crazy. It really is. Stop and think about it all. That's why I packed up everything and decided to hit the road. In that case, being on an island, you got to get on a plane to go anywhere, really. You just can't get in a car and drive off. You got to get on a plane and leave. Being stuck on that island, it was like, everybody says, why would you leave Hawaii? Hawaii's beautiful. Hawaii will always be home. But now looking back at everything, and now I've been out here for a while, Hawaii's expensive. It's an expensive place to try to make it. It really is. There's not a lot of opportunity. You can. I'm not saying that there isn't, but you can make it work. But you got to be. A lot of people I know had a couple of jobs. I worked at one and then got off and worked at the other one. Barely had enough time to get home and take their shoes off and sit down and have a beer or anything. Just hardly any of that time. Just before you had to get back up and do something else. It's because everything is just, you got to keep going. It just got to keep things, it's just, everything is so expensive. Coming out here, it's like, wow, I can buy all these groceries for this much money. Like, a gallon of milk doesn't cost $10. It's only $2. So, yeah, you kind of get that a little bit, but anyway, we'll talk. We'll chat some more on another episode. How about that, guys? So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming around, and yeah, thanks for enjoying the Still of the Night episode 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's fun for you and a little bit of a different kind of a bit here. So that's what we're going for. Again, I appreciate everybody that's been supportive of my creation here, right here on the YouTube, and everything. I feel, I wish I hadn't have gotten locked out of so many things that I was trying to do. Like, I don't know why, but I can't get into Patreon. It just really bums me out because these were outlets that I was trying to use and without trying to jump through so many hoops and regulations and all that. So, but yeah, well, it is what it is. Life goes on, and but I still appreciate everybody that's sticking around and supporting, and keep it going. Because without you guys, well, I wouldn't have an audience for this, and for me, that's really special. Growing up, being fascinated with film and all that, and never thought I'd have like an audience to share this stuff with, and that's what you, the subscribers, have become. My audience, my friends. You know, you've come around and decided that what I was doing was interesting enough to continue checking it out, and I appreciate it.